The Jersey Jam is a summer tradition that dates back to over 30 years ago. Today the tradition continues at the Rutgers Disc Golf Course in New Brunswick, New Jersey, and to see who wins this summer classic, stay tuned as Disc Golf Monthly starts now. Hello and thanks for joining us for our coverage of the 2017 Jersey Jam Pro Day at Rutgers College Disc Golf Course. This tournament is played on one of the oldest disc golf courses on the East Coast and is located on the Rutgers Douglas campus. Up until 1982, this course was an object course, which was played with frisbee discs, which were referred to as big lids. Today's weather is mild with no chance of rain. The layout to be played today is a modified layout from the permanent layout to allow for greater challenges. There are 3 par 4 holes on the course and 1 par 5 to be played today. Today we'll be featuring coverage of the Men's Grandmaster division. And to see who will be on the lead card for that division, let's take a look at their profiles. In first place, shooting a 53, we have Bob Graham from Highland Park, New Jersey. And in second place, we have Matt LaCourte shooting a 54 from Milford, New Jersey. And tied for second place, also shooting a 54, we have Don Toms from Bridgewater, New Jersey. And in fourth place, shooting a 60, we have Jeff Mahler from Bloomfield, New Jersey. Well, it looks like we have an exciting round in store for us, as past TD Matt LaCourte and current TD Bob Graham will be competing along with longtime New Jersey players Don Toms and Jeff Mahler. We're going to take a quick break, and when we return, we'll be gearing up for some second round coverage for the 2017 Jersey Jam. Don't go away, we'll be right back. And we're back at the start of the round 2 at the 2017 Jersey Jam. And leading off the Men's Grandmasters divisions, Bob Graham with the 53, Matt and Don tied with the 54. We're starting off from basket F1. This is a par 3, 385 feet. This is generally an open shot. You just have to keep it low off the tee to avoid those evergreen trees that you see in front of you. Bob's going to get a lot of air under that. He's getting in relatively close enough. He'll get an approach shot. Definitely get his 3 from there. There's Matt LaCourte's drive. He turns it a little bit. It's fading back. Doesn't look like he got as much distance as Bob. Now we have Don Toms with his drive. Looked like Don sawed that off just a little bit, but it glided nicely for him. Here's Jeff Mahler with his drive. And Jeff being the furthest out, he's going for his second shot. And that'll putt. There's Matt with his approach.
One time.
Matt just relatively close. He could have had that, but a little further. And Don's just going to lay up here. Right under the basket. Bob's closest to the basket. And everybody should have their 3 from here. Bob has a bit of a challenge here. He drops it in. So everybody makes par on the first hole on the day. We're moving on to basket 2. This is a par 4, 551 feet. This is our first par 4 hole of the day. Bob with his drive, he gets that nice and low. There's a Mando tree that they have to be careful. Matt with his first drive, his first throw. That gets a lot of turn out of that. Now we have Jeff Mahler. So everybody clears that walking path, and there you see up to the right that tree with the sign hanging at the base of the tree. That's the Mando they have to avoid. Has to pass to the left of that. Jeff has no problem making the Mando, but he does saw off a little bit to the left. Further up, you see that tree up ahead that Matt was heading towards. You can see the basket up there. It's right there to the left of that tree. Bob with his second throw. Bob drops in nicely. He may get a birdie, first birdie on the day with that, where the next throw will be from. That looks like he's also in good position to get a birdie. Don's going for a birdie here. Gets a little too much turn on that. Goes to the right of the basket. And Bob is also shooting for birdie. And he had a great line and went right in. That's the first birdie on the day. First birdie on the card. So Bob's going to pick up a 1 stroke. He's going to be 2 strokes ahead of Matt now with that birdie. And Matt and Don are tied at 61. This next hole, hole F3, this is a par 4, 600 feet. So as you can see, this is a very open shot. As players, they want to have their drive land as far off to the right as possible. There's a lining of evergreen trees further down the fairway, and a small parking lot. The parking lot's OB. You want to avoid those, having those evergreen trees in the front of you. It makes it very difficult to get over the OB and get to where the basket is on the other side of the OB.
That's a nice play. Yeah. Oh. No way. Look at that skip. That wasn't rubber. Exactly.
That gets a lot of turn off that. It's fading back. Let's see if it gets over the, and he's safe. By where that fire hydrant to the left is where the OB is. Don's going to go for a very high hyzer shot. It's going to float on in there. We'll have to see if he's safe or not. Matt's approach shot. And Bob also made it over that OB in the parking lot. Don's going to go with a flick shot for his approach. Jeff Mahler made a run at it. It just faded away too soon. This is a tricky par shot for Don. He had OB on the other side. He didn't let that scare him. He went right at it. So everybody shoots for par on this hole. And now we're moving to the basket 15. This is a par 3, 300 feet. This hole has changed a lot. In past years, a lot of trees on this hole have come down. This used to be a very narrow shot. From this distance, you had that tree that you still see up to let's just be on that sign, and there was another one just to the right of it, a very narrow, wide gap, not the very wide gap to get through off the tee. It was very difficult, not as challenging as it had been in previous years. Jeff keeps that low. See if he gets a skip for him. He may be close enough to get a birdie. And Jeff just drops a little too soon on him. Here's Bob going for a birdie. And Bob makes his second birdie of the round. Matt needs this birdie and to keep up with the pace of Bob. And Matt gets that birdie. And he's ahead of Don again by one stroke, once again. As we move on to basket 16, this is a par 3, 280 feet. This is a very tricky layout. It's trees just sporadically out on the fairway. And Matt plays that perfectly. It's hard to tell if that was intentional or not. Jeff got a nice skip off the pavement. Got a nice approach shot. He should get his 3 from there. Don Tons approaches with a sidearm shot, and he gets right under the basket. And Bob gets his 3rd birdie of the round. That was amazing. Matt needs his birdie to keep the pace, and he makes it. That's the 2nd birdie for Matt. He keeps that 2-stroke gap where it is between him and Bob. as Jeff picks up his 3. Moving on, this is, again, we have a 2-stroke gap between Bob and Matt. We move on to basket 18. This is a par 3, 353 feet. This is a shot where it's very open to the left. You want to throw a turnover shot, or if you want to be very challenging, you can do a bob dead. That's OB where those cars are. It's hard to tell if he got back or not.
I think it's in.
There's a island, which there's a pavement up ahead and an island. You see that gazebo up there. You got to cross over driving it. There's a pavement to the right you have to avoid. And there's a lot of OB here. You have to be very careful. Don goes with a backhand shot. Looked like he was trying to turn that over. It didn't work for him. As the basket is up ahead and it's to the right.
There you go.
Matt's going to go with a sidearm turnover shot. He just doesn't get it in the air enough. It hits the pavement. Stays OB on him. Don's also going to go with a similar shot. Let's see how much he gets it up a little more in the air. And he clears the OB.
Race up, Jeff.
Matt's inbound shot. He makes a run at it. Now Dom, with Matt getting a double bogey, he's tied with Don again at 74. Moving on to basket 1, this is a par 3, 354 feet. This is a very tough, very technical hole to play. You see these low-lying trees in front of you. There's also some shrubs that protect the basket, and Don looks like he's going to go straight into those shrubs that are just up ahead. Your best bet is to throw one that's going to play to the left of those shrubs if you can keep it low enough. Looks like Jeff may... Jeff goes into it as well. If you could get it to the left of those shrubs, you'll be in a good position to lay up and get your 3.
Light.
He goes with a roller shot to get out. That's very creative. Oh, wow. Don put a lot on that. Bob shooting for par. He just misses it. So if Matt can make his par, he can get 1 stroke back on Bob. With that double bogey Matt had gotten on the last hole, he gave Bob a 4-stroke lead. Now Bob's shooting for bogey. He makes it. So Matt does make his par, and he gets 1 stroke back. Bob now has a 3-stroke lead with that bogey. And we're moving on to basket 2. This is a par 3, 394 feet. This is a very open shot. A lot of players like to throw roller shots to get to the basket. Looks like Jeff's going to go with an air shot. He's going to get knocked down around that bicycle rack. Matt is also going with a air shot. Looked like it might have hit the ground and rolled, but it did stay in the air. With Bob Grand. Bob also goes with an air shot. He turns it over. It's fading back nicely. There you see the basket just up ahead in that grouping of trees. Here's Don with his first throw.
I saw it before.
Not cool.
That gets an unfortunate kick off that tree. And Matt makes it. They have marked off on this each basket 10-meter circle, and Matt was just outside that 10-meter circle with that unfortunate rollback he got off that tree. Don's just putt. This does not carry far enough to make it into the basket. It kicks off the rim. He's going to lose another stroke to Matt with that missed putt as he takes a bogey. So Matt now has a 2-stroke lead over Don. And Bob still has a 3-stroke lead over Matt. We're going to take a quick break. We'll be right back. Don't go away. We'll be right back.
I make learning a privilege, not a chore, and unconventional methods common. I'm a teacher. I make more.
And welcome back as we're on basket 4. This is a par 3, 219 feet. This layout, you have to be careful. You can't, it's not too challenging avoiding the OB that you have on the pavement in front of you, but there's a lot of that big evergreen tree that you see that they're all trying to get their disc to turn around with these backhand turnover shots, and the basket's just beyond those evergreen trees that you see up ahead of you.
Go in. Oh.
Oh, it just came up short and got knocked out.
Forehand. Come on. Come on.
So Don is the only one going with the sidearm shot, but he gets too much turn on it. There's Bob. Outside the circle. Going for birdie. Really straight shot. He just misses. Don is also outside the circle. And he just hits off the cage, does not go in. That's putting low here. And he gets knocked down, doesn't keep it low enough. That was a tough shot. There's Bob going for par. And Jeff is the only one to get a birdie on this hole. Everybody else has to settle for a par. As we move on to basket 5, this is a par 3, 315 feet. So this would, you have to play over the roadway. You have some trees on either side into the fairways. You make your way down. You want to go with the hyzer shot here. You have to be careful not to have it hyzer out too soon, or it's not going to make it beyond that evergreen tree you saw. Jeff wasn't able to make it beyond it. Matt's getting a lot of turn off this shot. He's going to get knocked down early. Bob is going to make it through there. Here's Don Towns with his drive. It's going to work very well for him. Let's see what gets a good skip. And he's right there at the basket. Matt's approach shot. And he'll get his par from there. Bob going for birdie. It'll be his fourth one if he makes it. And he does. 4 birdies for Bob Graham. And he'll at least get 1 stroke back over Matt. So Matt looks like it has an easy 3. So Bob picks up 1 stroke over Matt. He's back to having a 4-stroke lead with that birdie. And now Dom is 1 stroke behind Matt. As we move on to basket 6, this is a par 3, 307 feet. So challenging layout. There's a Mando tree just to the right, that big thick tree you see with the arrow sign on it. And there's also OB in a straight line that goes down the fairway. They're going with a right dog leg here. The fairway does straighten out if you make that dog leg.
Better be safe than
you see the basket further up there. It's a nice turnover shot.
Nope, nice one, Gil.
It's a really great placement shot there. Bob with his second shot. So Bob was flirting with the OB on this, where his drive landed. Comes up with a nice approach shot. He's inside the circle. Matt is parked practically right underneath the basket. Don's going with an approach shot with a sidearm once again.
Nice bid, Jeff.
For the ribbon. I don't need no stinking ribbon.
So Bob has to settle for a bogey in this hole, and Matt gets a par, so Matt's 3 strokes behind Bob once again. We're moving on to basket 7. This is a par 3, 282 feet.
That's fighter.
This is a hole that doesn't really have a true fairway. Just have to choose what gap you're going to play through. That's Matt's gap right there. He just went off out to that opening there. Heiser's back.
That's fine.
Missed that bush this time.
He's on that pavement, but that pavement is not obey.
Whoa, that's right. Oh.
Looks like Jeff tried to take the same route that Matt did, but he got too much turn on it and it got knocked down early. Here's Bob with his drive. Bob's going to go straight down the middle.
Get down.
Caught a little bit of vegetation, but and he just goes obey. Skips over the obey. Bob puts a little too much on that approach shot. It goes just beyond the basket. Matt's going for par, and he just comes up short. Bob comes up low. It's under the basket, so he'll be sure to make at least come up with a bogey. Don makes his par. So Matt has picked up another stroke on Bob, with Bob getting that bogey after going obey. It's getting to be a tight race here. We're moving on to basket 8. This is a par 3, 250 feet. This has changed a bit from previous layouts from previous years. It used to play more to the left. We're actually playing to a different basket previous years. Matt just puts a hyzer shot down there. He's right just beyond the basket. You see up ahead there.
Well, we hope a lot better than last round.
Jeff had a perfect line. It was just a little too high, and it sits right on top of the basket. Oh, and Bob just hits the chains, gets knocked out. He hit the chains too hard. These are originally single chain baskets. Some point over the years they modified them, adding an inner chain inside. But it's not enough. There's a lot of dropouts. as you saw happen to Bob, happen often here. As we're Matt now has a caught up. He's one stroke behind Bob as Matt got his birdie. We're moving on to pond hole 1. This is a par 3, 484 feet. This is this hole is laid out. It's you basically this favors a roller shot. It starts out open, but there's a lot of low-lying trees. Don keeps it low. He just gets through that. With a good skip, he can be relatively close to the pin. Jeff goes with a very wide shot, a lot of turn. And he just gets through all that, doesn't hit one branch.
Get it all the way up there.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Matt with his second shot.
There you go.
Bob makes a run out of it. It just fades out. So everybody makes par. Bob is still one stroke ahead of Matt. Moving on to basket pond 2. This is a par 4, 423 feet. The road that you see off to the left is all OB, and that plays out perfectly. There's a very fine turnover shot, landed in the middle of the fairway. See how this works for Don. He's throwing a sidearm. He keeps that nice and low. It's lucky. If I had gone too deep, that would have gone OB.
Go back, sit.
Joe came out and carried him all the way up.
Don's going to go with a roller shot. Very risky.
Oh,
and the tree saved him. He looked like he was headed right for the OB. He was going to roll right out of bounds. It went right into the bark of that tree. There's a hole in that tree, and it just went right in there. Bob is dangerously close to the OB himself. There's a wide hyzer shot. It catches some branches in that tree, but it gets close enough he could get his putt from there. Matt goes with a hyzer shot as well. He doesn't get in close enough. He's going to have a tough putt. Don is putting from inside the tree. Or he's rather approaching. There's Jeff with his third shot. So everybody makes par once again. We're moving on to pond 3. This is a par 5, 750 feet. Matt gets around that tree nicely. Main obstacle in this hole to get around is that tree you see out in front of you to the left. Don gets around that very nicely. If you could be on that tree, you have a direct look to the basket as you go down the fairway.
Bob. You like that.
Hit the bride. How many of them?
Very nice, Jeff.
Doing like we're getting evil threes.
Put the picture in front of the bus stop. I don't know, maybe they met at Rutgers, yeah. Yeah, Don.
There you go.
Oh, there it is.
That's a perfect approach shot right under the basket.
Get it. Come on. Nice run, man.
See Matt. See Bob putt out here. And everybody makes a birdie on here with the exception of Jeff. And we're moving on to basket 10. This is a par 3. 233 feet. There's Don with his drive.
Oh, yeah. Nice. Oh, it was going.
That's an iron leaf.
That was going.
Like Bob had the perfect turnover shot, but it just caught that one branch and got knocked down.
Come on, turn.
Jeff does not get
More
that disc
iron.
to turn soon enough. He gets knocked down. And with 1 hole to go, Bob has a 1-stroke lead over Matt. This is a par 3, 300 feet. It's an uphill shot. You have vegetation on either side as you go up the hill. That gets an air shot. It looks like that's going to put him in position to have a birdie putt. Don also gets a nice drive. Bob gets a low shot. And it hits the ground a little too soon. And Jeff's drive just goes off the fairway a little too soon, and he's off the fairway, playing out off the edge of the fairway. Gets a nice approach shot. He should get his putt from there. And that was birdie shot. This puts the pressure on Bob. Bob must make this birdie shot, or we will have a playoff. That is the 5th birdie for Matt. And Bob just drops a little low, so we're going to have a playoff coming up. Bob putts out for his 3. So now we have a tie between Matt and Bob. And we're going to have a playoff coming up. We're going to take a quick break, and then we're going to have this playoff. Don't go away. We'll be right back. And here we are at the start of the playoff on basket 1. This is a par 3, 354 feet. That's going to lead us off here. And Matt gets distracted by a sudden outburst by someone in the gallery.
Everyone okay?
It's as though it broke his concentration. It looks as though he landed in the shrubs.
Halfway there.
Yeah.
And Bob gets around it. Bob had the perfect shot. Matt has to play over these shrubs. It's going to be tough. Goes with a forearm turnover shot. Doesn't turn over enough for him. And Bob's great position to lay up and get his 3. He actually runs at it, and he makes contact with the chains. Matt is very close. He could get this. He's playing out of the bushes. And it just does not make it. Goes around the basket. So with Bob can make this putt, he will be the 2017 Grandmasters champion. Pro day of the 2017 Jersey Jam, and he drops it in, and Bob is this year's champion. Congratulations to Bob Graham. And there you have it. Bob Graham wins the playoff. We're going to take a quick break. We'll be right back to wrap up this second round competition. Don't go away. We'll be right back. Well, that was some exciting play between Matt and Bob, as hole by hole Matt cut up the Bob to force a playoff. Unfortunately for Matt, his drive on the first hole landed straight into some shrubs that made it impossible for him to get an approach shot close enough to get a 3, which made an easy playoff win for Bob, as his drive completely went to the side of the shrub, gave him an easy approach that gave him the drop-in putt for the win. Well, that's all the time we have for this month's show. Please join us next month for the next edition of Disc Golf Monthly, the show that takes you one step closer to the exciting sport of disc golf.